Welcome to Whippoorwill Holler. I'm Miss Lori and this is Mr. Brown. We live in the hills of Arkansas. We love the Lord. Keepers of the old way, but accept some of the new. We love to cook and we love to eat. We love to garden. It's in our blood. It's how we stay sustainable and fill our pantry. We do a lot of canning and preserving. We live a sustainable life. We love our family. We work hard. And every once in a while, we like to dance. So y'all join us. Hi everybody, and welcome back to Whippoorwill Holler Homestead. I'm Miss Lori, and today we're going to be making a lemon meringue pie. I've got a co-worker, and tomorrow's her birthday. She has worked in the cafeteria for many years. Now, Miss Margaret has retired, but she come back and she puts in about 3 hours every day. And I hope I'm telling you right, but I think she turned 74. I hope I'm not wrong on that. But she puts in 3 hours. She works the a la carte in the cafeteria. And she's still pretty spry. She just keeps it going. She lost her husband a few years ago, and she come on back to work. And I asked her, I said, Miss Margaret, what do you want me to make you for your birthday? She said, Lord, you make me a lemon meringue pie. That's what I made her last year. And I don't know if she's had one since. But evidently she liked it, and she wanted another one. So we're going to be making her a wonderful recipe for lemon meringue with a no weep, no shrink meringue topping. So let's get started. I realize that I have a couple of videos making pie crust. But if we're going to make a pie, I'm going to go ahead and do a pie crust. I know I still have people that, ask me to do more pie crust. And this is just a double recipe. You'll get 2 crusts out of this recipe. It's 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of salt, and a cup of very cold butter. You can use salted or unsalted, it doesn't matter. And what I did is I just grated my butter. Instead of cutting it in chunks, I grated it, and it mixes up that way faster. A lot of times, if I have time, I like to shred a bunch of butter up and freeze it, put it in a bag. That way I've got it ready. When you got a busy life, those little shortcuts sure do help. If I have time after this, getting this pie done, I'll show you another little shortcut that I do, and I'll even explain to you why I do it. But you just want to cut this butter into your flour really good till it just looks kind of like pea-sized pieces in there. You don't have to just, pulverize it or nothing. It's going to get kind of coarse looking. And then it's ready. It's going to be ready for your ice cold water. I've got about 1/4 of a cup of ice cold water, and I'm just going to make a well in the middle. Now, y'all know how I have explained before that it just depends on the weather how much liquid you'll have to have in a recipe. And that's the same with pie crust. Now, some people put just a little bit of sugar in their pie crust, and by all means, if you want to do that, put you a tablespoon or a teaspoon of sugar in here. And I can tell by feeling of this that I've got to have more water, but not the ice cube. And I'm just going to work it a little bit till it all comes together. May even have to get me a little bit more water. Now, my favorite pie crusts are made with lard. And I even like sometimes to use half lard, half butter, or 3/4 lard and then maybe a 1/4 butter. Pour me just a little bit more water around the side. Gather it up again. The thing about pie crust, I always stress this, is you don't want to mess with it too much. But you want it to come together. And it's coming together now. It's forming a ball. You can see it's formed a ball. Now this is going to make 2 pie crusts, so I'm going to take half of it, and then the other half I'm going to put in the freezer, and I'll use it probably this weekend maybe to make a pie, make another pie. Set that one aside. I've got just some parchment paper here. A little bit of flour on it. Now I've got a 9-inch deep dish pizza here. You can use store-bought pizza. Why is my mind on pizza? Okay. You can use store-bought pie crust, or you can use store-bought pizza, whichever, if you want to. It's no big deal. The pie will be good either way. And you know, y'all have watched some of my pie videos. Y'all know I talk about that. I keep store-bought pie crust in my freezer at all times because of the convenience of it, and because you never know when you're going to have to put a pie together pretty quick. For some reason or another. I like having stuff like that ready to go. And you know, people, I know they're intimidated sometimes about pie crust because they watch people on TV make these pie crusts that look so perfect. They roll out so perfectly round. Well, I'm here to tell you, I've made a lot of pie crust, and mine are never perfectly round, never beautiful, but they taste pretty good. So you just want to roll this out to the size you need for your pie plate, whatever size that is. I would say that usually when I'm making this lemon meringue pie, I use a deep dish pie plate. Mr. Brown, I mean, he just come in the door from work. I handed him his jug of tea, and he took off to a fishing tournament. It's just a local tournament. It's not too far from here on Thunderbird Lake, I believe. And a lot of the men around here. Of course, they try to get it done before it gets too hot. And I can tell you, it was close to 90 degrees today. I'm telling you, if you like weather that's just from one extreme to the next and nothing in between, that's Arkansas anymore. That is Arkansas. Now I'm going to take my pie crust. I'm just putting a little flour on here to keep it from sticking. I'm going to bring my pie pan over here. And you know, sometimes you'll do this and it won't fit. And sometimes it will. But if it don't, you make it fit. If you have to patch it together, it don't matter. You know, when you're cooking or baking, you don't want to be stressed out. You don't want to worry if the pie is just as perfect as a picture in a magazine. You want it to be your own. I've been cooking for many years, and there's just a lot of ways that I do stuff that works for me. And I know a lot of people watch me do things and they're like, I don't know why you do it that way. I just do. It's the way I like to do stuff. And after 58 years, it's always worked, so you know what I mean? Okay, now I'm going to we're just going to cut the edges off. And don't throw these pieces away. In fact, I'll just put it with this other pie crust. Or, now my oven's heated on 400 degrees. And that's what works good for my pie crust, empty shell pie crust. It's 400 degrees in my oven. You might start out at 375 in yours. And it'll take about anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes in mine. And I'm not going to do anything fancy, because I know that Miss Margaret will not care. She just wanted a lemon meringue pie because that's one of her favorite pies. And I just always go back to the usual way of watching how my grandmother always done her pie crust. And she just always either took her index finger or she took her knuckle like this and just crimped the edges. Kind of fold it out under if you need to. Now you want to stick this in the fridge. I'm going to stick it in there for about 10 minutes. And then I'll stick it in the oven. And that's just another way of making sure, spending that extra time of getting a good flaky crust. It's pie crust. Okay, quick update on the pie crust. It's out of the refrigerator after about 10 minutes. And I took part of that parchment paper that I had rolled it out on, and now I'm just crumbling it up a little bit. And now I didn't poke no holes in my crust, because I don't like taking the chance of anything going underneath the crust. That has happened to me before, and it's so upsetting. And I've got some of these. These are just little stones that you use to pre-bake your empty pie shells. You can use beans if you want to. I'm just going to pour them in there to kind of weigh that down. We're going to put this in the oven, and I'm going to watch it. I'm going to check it in about 10 minutes, and then we'll go from there. Back, and my pie crust is out of the oven. I didn't video me I took the baking stones out of the crust, then I put the crust back in there, and I cooked it for another couple minutes till it was good and golden brown. So it's out of the oven, it's cooled. And I have been outside for about an hour and a half, so I'm behind. So we've got to get this pie made, y'all. I realized, well, Mr. Brown's not here. So I've got to go out and I need to take care of the chickens, and the ducks come up from the pond. There's one to eat. And I forgot that I had to water both gardens tonight. I don't know how I got it all done, but I did. I just come in the door. So if I look a little bit flustered, it's because I've been out getting all that done so I can get back in here and get this pie made, y'all. So we're going to start on our filling now, the lemon filling. And I'll show you the ingredients. It's pretty easy. Just your usual pie filling ingredients, except at the end you're going to put a little bit of lemon juice and some lemon zest in it, and that's what makes it so wonderful. So let's get started on our lemon filling. Okay, I got my pot back here on my smallest burner there, and what I'm going to do is I've got 2 cups of water. This does not contain, this filling does not have any milk in it. It has water. So 2 cups. And I've got, how many cups? I got 1.5 cups of sugar. I ain't got my glasses on, y'all. Couldn't see nothing. I'm going to put a good pinch of salt. I'm going to put, now what I've got here is 3/4 of a cup of flour. And I know y'all think that's a lot. Back when I done this recipe the first time, and it's been way on back there, it was 1/3 of a cup of cornstarch and 1/3 of a cup of cake flour. I'm using 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And I'm sorry about that. I just knocked you around, didn't I? I'm going to turn this on about a medium low. I'm going to stir this just a little bit. Now I'm not going to put any extract in here because I don't like that imitation taste. So I'm only going to be putting the juice of 2 lemons in here, which is just a little over 1/4 of a cup, and then my lemon zest of 2 lemons. And there's a few lumps in here, but as this warms up, that will go away. Now I've got 5 egg yolks. Now these are at room temperature. So 5 fresh egg yolks. And I'm going to let this come up to a boil. Then I'm going to turn it down and I'm going to let it simmer till it thickens up. When you're making pie filling, you have to have a little bit of patience with it. But the thing of it is, once it comes to that simmer, it doesn't take long before it starts to thicken up. And you got to really watch it and keep stirring it, because you'll have to pull it off that heat just as soon as it really starts to thicken up. Okay, it only took about, I don't know, 6 minutes before, it started to simmer and then it just started thickening up about that quick. So I'm going to take 3 tablespoons, more like 4, of butter. Now I will have the recipe down below in the description box. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, I want you to look. That thing has went plumb up. What is wrong with you? There you go. I guess I got rough with it. Whew. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go in there and hit the subscribe button and hit that bell. Go down there to the description box underneath the videos, and you'll get the recipes and different kinds of information. I want you to look. I'm going to get me a new whisk there. Maybe this pudding's just too hard on it. I don't know. But I'm going to have to put, my butter's melted. So now, I need to put my lemon juice. It's just a little over 1/4 of a cup. It was the juice of 2 lemons. And I got the zest of 2 lemons. And before I pour this into my pie shell, I'm going to taste it and make sure that it's got enough lemon taste to it. That is so good. Y'all, you know the thing about eating a good old-fashioned lemon pie is it's got to have the sweetness, but at the back of your tongue it's got to have that tartness too. And that's what I like. So I'm going to pour this in my pie shell, and then we're going to go on and make our meringue. Okay, now we're going to make our syrup for our no weep, don't shrink meringue. I'm going to turn my stove on. And what I've got in here is a tablespoon of either cornstarch or arrowroot, and then 2 tablespoons of sugar, and a 1/2 cup of water. And I'm just going to heat this through until everything gets dissolved good. Okay, I've got my 5 egg yolks in here, and we're going to turn this on and start whipping our egg yolks before we add anything. Okay, we've got our meringue to a soft peak stage. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our syrup that we made, and it's still hot. You can see how it's kind of clear now. And I'm going to start pouring this in as I'm mixing. Now I'm going to start adding 6 tablespoons of sugar. And I'm also going to add a pinch of salt. I'm going to mix it just a little bit longer, but you want to be careful that you don't do it, over mix it, beat it. Okay, we are done. We're going to get this on the pie. Our pie is still warm. You want the filling still warm when you put your meringue on. My oven's heating to 350. And while I'm spreading this meringue, I'm going to make sure that I get plumb over the sides. And seal it up good. Now this is going to cook in a 350 oven, and sometimes it'll take up to 20 minutes or so for it to, 20 to 30 minutes. Now I don't always do the no weep meringue, especially when I'm in a hurry making pies, because you know it is a few extra little steps, but nothing major. I'm just going to kind of, and like I said, make sure your filling is still at least warm, if not hot. And just take the back of your spoon and just make some little peaks to make it a pretty pie. Okay, now we're going to put this in the oven. 350. Not for sure how long it'll take, but we'll know just as soon as I get it out. There it is, out of the oven. Took about 22 minutes. It's good and brown, cooked all the way through. The meringue looks good and stable. You know, the only bad thing of it is I can't eat none of it. I gotta give it all to Miss Margaret. You reckon she'll share with us tomorrow? I bet she will. Well, here it is, guys. Miss Lori's lemon meringue pie. I hope y'all try this recipe. It is wonderful. It's one of the best lemon pies recipes I've ever ate. I found this recipe online years ago, and it's been my favorite ever since. Using fresh lemons, well, real lemons, and the zest of the lemon, and not using imitation extract, it makes such a difference. The pie, the filling is just so good and so fresh tasting. It's just one of my favorites. The meringue, I'm hoping in the morning, it's worked so far whenever I make my no wheat, no shrink meringue. It always works. But you know, it's really humid today. It has been so humid today. So today was not a real good day to make meringue pie. But you know, I always think every day is a good day for pie, y'all. So y'all try this recipe. We love y'all, and we'll be back in a few days. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. It helps us out a whole lot. And so we can keep coming back to y'all and making more videos. And I hope Mr. Brown caught a bunch of fish, or at least one big fish today in his tournament. So God bless everybody. Y'all have a wonderful week. And like I said, we'll see you in a few days. Don't know what we'll be doing, but we'll be doing something.